Are we live? Well, kick us off, Kevin.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Tavern Talk, right down here at Tarnation Tavern on the corner of Maple and Main in River Falls, Wisconsin. Glad you could all join us tonight. I am Mr. Kevin Westhouse, joined by Tim Burns. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Kevin. How about you?
I am not bad. I mean, a little bit of jitters. You just don't know where this is going to go, right? I mean,
I came in here and I thought there was a band playing tonight with this kind of setup. I was like, who is that for?
Yeah, we've got the setup. Everything is thumbs up in there. We have a nice audience in the crowd too tonight. Let's go ahead. I'm kind of multitasking. Let's show who's in the crowd tonight here. So, yeah, give it a wave out there. Tarnation Tavern fans here down at Freddy Bar and Tarnation Tavern. This is a spot for the hot, spicy chicken sandwich. We happen to have those one of those right in front of us here with some Brussels sprouts drizzled with some fine, it looks like cheese or some sauce on there as well.
Have you had the Brussels sprouts are awesome.
Yeah, so let's go back and take a look at that. Let me see right here. Hold on one second. And so I'm multitasking right now, Tim. So
You're doing a good job.
I'm producing the show, and there they are right there. So here's the Brussels sprouts. You can see those. Those are excellent. Here's this chicken sandwich down here at Tarnation Tavern. That thing is
excellent.
My mouth is actually watering as I look at that because I haven't had dinner yet. So understandable.
It's going to be about a 5-minute show?
A 5-minute show because I'll be all over that like a pack of dogs on a 3-legged cat. I mean, that thing is just out there just teasing us right now.
You're digging into it. So what are we going to talk about tonight,
we're going to talk about, we got some topics. We got some hot topics. I'm going to throw that chicken sandwich up there for folks at home to see. We're going to talk about...
that looks phenomenal.
We got some hot topics tonight. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Tavern Talk. What is Tavern Talk? And we're trying to just boil this down, and this isn't some crazy podcast, some crazy show. Really, this is about solving problems, Tim, and polite conversations. Pretty much what we do every weekend when we hang out together. If we do, tend to hang out together.
That's right. We have these conversations. We're going to bring them forth to a wider audience.
Yeah.
Potentially. Like, we'll expand it from 1 to 6.
And what I would recommend is that you would get up in the chat section right here and let us know. I mean, if you have questions, comments, concerns. I had in our pre-production meeting, I was saying there is no right answers, and Tim corrected me immediately and says, "Oh yes, oh yes,
there's right answers. I have them all."
There are right answers. So we're gonna kind of banter back and forth a little bit and try to solve the world's problems. Tonight's topics are clocks in sports. We're going to talk about the shot clock or potential shot clock in high school basketball. And then we're going to go right into pitch clocks and batter clocks in baseball. Stay tuned for that because Tim and I might go to fisticuffs on that one. And then we're going to talk about a needed clock for instant replay in all sports.
Yeah.
I mean, right? So that's what we're going to cover. We might get off the trail a couple times tonight, but that's kind of where we're going to go, and we'll see what path we go down.
That's right. We'll see which path we go down.
So why don't we just jump right in? I mean, we're kind of toying with it a little bit right here. We do know that this is going on right now. We've got the state basketball tournament is coming up. The girls are going on, just finished actually, I believe last weekend. Yes, and now the boys is coming up this weekend. So that's going on here in the state of Wisconsin. And what's not happening in Wisconsin yet is shot clocks in high school basketball. That's not going on. But it's coming to Minnesota, our neighboring state next year. Some of our teams that do go over to Minnesota and play might have the opportunity to experience that shot clock.
Sure. And it's proposed to be a 35-second shot clock. Is that correct?
Same 35 seconds, yes.
Same as the NCAA?
Yes, 35-second clock. So, I mean, there are definitely 2 and maybe 3 sides to this coin, Tim.
Well, I'm a proponent of it. I look at it from the standpoint.
Oh, you're just going to jump right in.
Oh, yeah.
You're just going to jump right in. I'm a proponent of the shot clock.
I am. to me, this is people want to see action. They want to see people playing the game of basketball. It's not, they don't want to see keep away. What I don't know, honestly, is how much of an issue is it right now?
Right. Is it an issue? So, issues. So I think I'm going to lay out some of the issues that people would say are issues. Games 38-34, 32-28. Scores around the state on any given Friday night in varsity high school basketball below 40. That would be considered an issue by some.
Yeah, but how much of that is based on stall tactics versus having the shot clock out there to promote shooting and upping the pace of play? Right.
So I do think so. I think the games are where they are in scoring. Tradition. I mean, you do get games that are in the 60s and 70s. I'm guessing, I didn't do this research, but I'm guessing games probably hover around the 50s for scores in varsity basketball because teams in this state of Wisconsin, along with teams in 37 other states in the nation, don't have a shot clock and are in no hurry to shoot the basketball.
Well, again, from my perspective, it's put the game in the players' hands. Give them the opportunity to score. Show that they are growing in the game of basketball from their shooting prowess and quite frankly, their defense.
Right.
So those are the things that people come to see. People do not want to see people standing around.
Right.
I call that the standing around rule, and we're going to get into that in other topics tonight as well.
We are.
So standing around, playing a game of keep away, that's not basketball.
So
I don't know how much that's an issue in today's game but that's what makes me say I'm a proponent of the shot clock.
Right, okay. So I'm going to probably agree with you in the end. I'm a proponent as well, but it doesn't make for a very good talk show if we just agree up front and move on. So I'm going to say So I'm going to say this. I'm going to take the other side a little bit and say, what about a high school basketball team? I think we've seen these types of teams the last couple of years in River Falls. Athletic teams that maybe don't have the 4 or 5 basketball players, shooters, but you have a great coach like Zach Campbell who's able to coach his athletes and what he has and develop a team to play in the system presented to him and compete in the Big Rivers Conference.
Well, Coach Campbell, he's got some interesting thoughts about how to improve the game of basketball. And we can get into that either now or in some later topic.
Hey, I'm a fan. So first of all, Zach Campbell, the local head coach, I'm a fan because he gets the most out of his players. He does with his players. He knows what their strengths are, and he plays to their strengths, and he's not encumbered by the shot clock.
And to my knowledge, Zach doesn't play a stall game.
Okay, not intentionally.
He's running his offense,
right?
And they're going to go out and try to score, generally speaking, on every possession, right? Versus playing a game of I'm going to slow the pace of the game down.
So I'm going to go on both of those for you. So he has shared with me. I said, I don't understand if you're up by 11 with 4 minutes left in the game. Why are you shooting? Why are you shooting? Why do you run down the court and shoot the ball? And know what his answer was to me was? It's not really in the spirit of the game.
And he's absolutely right. It is not in the spirit of the game.
But it's in the rules of the game, and I'm like, why are you shooting?
But it's what people also come to see, right? They come to see basketball. And again, it's not keep away, it's basketball. People standing around playing keep away, not basketball.
So we saw that, Tim, when River Falls advanced to the state tournament a couple of years ago, and they played Tosa East. And Tosa East, I think, was up by 7 with about 4 minutes left. And they went into the old school 4-corner stall.
The old.
They did. They went in. What was that? Who did that back in the 70s?
Oh, it was the.
I want to say
North
Dean
Carolina,
Smith or
Dean Smith. Yeah.
Dean Smith, right? So
North Carolina coach.
So you could call the shot clock the Dean Smith rule, I suppose.
But again, let's put the game in the players' hands, right? Nobody really cares what the coach is doing. We don't come to a game to see how smart a coach is. We come to a game to see kids perform, and so let's let them perform. Show me how well you can shoot the ball.
Right.
Show me how well you can defend. I don't care if you're playing keep away.
Right. So my color commentator, Ariel Avestras, he says, Kevin, you make it sound so simple. He said, oh, you can just stall the clock. I always say, why don't you just stall the clock? And Ariel is like, it's not that easy. He goes, watch this. They're going to try to stall a minute and a half, and it's going to get stolen. And he's right most of the time that the ball does get stolen. And I was like, I don't understand. So his team not practice that enough or what? So practice it enough or what? But it's not that easy to stall the clock out either.
No, I think part of that is it, and we see lots of examples of this where, in fact, we just watched Purdue do that in their Big Ten championship game against Penn State. They went into a slowdown game. They still have a shot clock, but they tried to work the clock, and really they got out of their rhythm. They got out of their offense, got out of their rhythm, and
it hurt them in the end.
And they ended up having a couple of turnovers, and so I do think that has an impact in the game.
Yeah, I think it does. So I just want to give that shot right there for the folks at home. Look at our attentive audience out there. Attentive.
Do they even know we're up here?
Yeah, they do. They do. So, no, but to the point is, it's not that easy to stall either.
Well, it's not. If the point of the game is to score and you're all of a sudden changing the point of the game, which is, again, now you're playing keep away, I don't see how that's going to help you.
Another argument, Tim, is why you'd want a shot clock is, in your state, if you don't have a shot clock, how are you ever going to develop good basketball shooters if you don't have them shoot?
Well, again,
are they getting good in practice?
This is that argument of saying, put the game in the players' hands. Allow them to shoot. Allow them to score. Work on their defense. Whatever it is that says that's the essence of the game, your offense and your defense. Play that game. Don't play keep away.
Right. So I'm assuming if there is a shot clock, you're going to have to spend more time in practice on shooting 15-foot jumpers.
Well, and the other thing it's going to promote is and we've seen this with kids that sometimes are open and they think, I got to pass this ball. If you're open, shoot.
Shoot.
Yeah.
And now you've got time. So if you're not the guy, you're passing the ball.
Or you're shooting.
How long before the shot clock gets to River Falls?
Well, that's a great question.
Or to Wisconsin.
I don't know how much of a buzz there is in the WIAA regarding that. I would think, though, as more states adopt it, especially if we look at neighboring states doing that, I would say Wisconsin would probably follow suit relatively soon.
I would think so, right? I would think so.
But again, if we look at the evolution of the shot clock, don't we think that's improved the game?
In college basketball, there is no doubt about it.
There's no question.
No question.
There's no question.
So, wow, there's something we can agree on right there. So we can agree that in college basketball, the shot clock has definitely improved
the game. And why wouldn't we think it would do the same? Why wouldn't it do the same in high school?
I think it would.
You're promoting the things that you want to see happening. As a fan, you want to see scoring. You're willing to put up with defense, but you want to see kids shooting the ball.
Yes.
So give them the ball, let them shoot, and promote scoring.
Right. Promote scoring. So I think we're, even though this is tavern talk and we like to agree to disagree because it makes for a more scintillating conversation, I think we kind of agree on this, that we should have a shot clock in high school basketball.
I think we do agree.
I think we do agree on that. I don't think we're going to agree on the next topic. So we can politely step away from shot clocks in high school basketball, and we are going to go to this topic. Actually, kind of gets me wound up a little bit. Actually, just just a little bit.
I've already heard some of your arguments on this.
I know, and you're prepared. I like the fact that you're prepared for me on this, and we are going to go to pitch clocks in baseball. And I'm a little scared right now because I heard some rustling. Tim Bob up here is bringing his notes out. I see him. He's got notes. He's ready for me. He's laying in the weeds. He's ready to come off the top rope.
Hey, just remember, I'm here in a sweatshirt. You're in a suit and tie.
I think you could take me right now, and you're a wrestler, and I'm not. So I'm probably not going to get you off the stool, and we're not going to be wrestling around in front out here, though it'd make for great television. I don't think that's going to happen tonight.
You're the one that said, your last text to me yesterday said, study up.
Study up.
Is that right?
That one I said study up. I said study up, and he did, obviously. Tim Bob has studied up. He burned a whole number 2 lead pencil out on this notes he's taking here.
Let's start with the pace of play in baseball.
I have a question. Can I start this thing out with a question?
Sure.
Who's complaining? Who is the audience that says, I'm going to the ballpark, and I can't wait to get home. I just spent $67 on a nice ticket, and I can't wait to get home, Tim. Is that you?
That's not what they're saying.
But that's what the result is.
Can you have your game end at a reasonable time? Because I'm working in the morning, and if I go to a night game and it's 7 o'clock as your first pitch, and the game takes 3 hours and 20 minutes, and I have any time of commuting, I'm not getting home till 11:30 or midnight.
Who cares? I spent $7 on a ticket. I want to stay at the
asked
park.
me who was complaining, and I said those are the people complaining.
Not many.
So, but let's look at this. In the 1970s, the average time of a baseball game, you get this right off of MLB.
These are facts, by the way.
Is 2 hours and 30 minutes.
This is factual.
By 2007, it was 2 hours and 50 minutes, and it hasn't been less since.
Right.
So let's really take a look at what's happening in the game.
I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to give you the floor. Go.
Well, we get back into the topic of standing around, right? Who likes to watch people standing around? It's what we talked about with the shot clock. I don't want to see people standing around playing keep away with a basketball, and I don't want to see people standing around getting out of a batter's box, adjusting their glove, adjusting their equipment, adjusting their junk, whatever they got going on.
Right. I mean, that's what we see.
And then we see pitchers taking their time, sitting there, not throwing a pitch. Yeah. So to me, it's like, get the pitch clock in there, speed up the pace of play. It's not going to harm anything. The whole purpose is to try to get the game back into a reasonable time frame of, say, 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Oh, I was going to ask that question. So what is your goal time? So when you go to a game, how long do you want to sit there for? 2 hours and 55 minutes? What is your goal? Like, if I don't get out here in 2:55, I am pissed. What is it?
Well, I don't know that there's a set goal. I think it's just, let's increase the pace of play. Let's help it along. Mm-hmm. And I think the players will adjust. I mean, I've heard the players don't necessarily like the pitch clock and like all these rules, but, the players, it's their fault. They're the ones that got into this mess in the first place by doing all the crap that they do. So, right?
Yeah, the audience says, here, speed it up.
So let's figure out a way to help them move the pace of play along. That's all we're saying. So move it along.
Right. So what about the old phrase a coach would tell you, hey, when you're batting, you go at your pace. Make the pitcher go at your pace. You're not really allowed to do that anymore.
No, and we shouldn't. Because, again, that wasn't a thing previously, and I don't know why it's a thing now.
Because pitchers get in a groove. They get in a rhythm. You want to lose a contact lens. You want to get out and you want to slow them down. You want to get them off the rhythm. I want the advantage at the plate. I don't want to give up the advantage to that pitcher who's like ball, pitch, ball, pitch, ball, pitch, ball, pitch. I want to break that up a little bit. I want to throw some sand in the gears.
Well, to me, all of that stepping out and doing all that crap it's examples of non-action. And baseball's got enough issues with non-action. And I'm a huge baseball fan. So I'm saying promote action. Get moving.
Okay.
Stop with all the dilly-dallying around. I mean, this could be a topic for a different
Yeah.
day, but get rid of batting gloves. If you can't get a glove that you can't prevent from adjusting after every pitch that comes in, whether or not you swung the bat or not, come on.
Right. So Mike Noreen chimes in. He says, if a shot clock would improve basketball because of more action, why wouldn't it improve baseball for the same reason?
Exactly.
That is a very good question.
And
And
that's what we're saying. We're
Yeah.
promoting.
Yeah.
We're promoting you to get moving, play the game,
Yeah.
and play the game the way we're expecting it to be played. I mean, I know you were giving me the examples of the.
Well,
I just
wait.
went to a concert.
Wait, no,
Come on,
let me tee it up.
Give your
Let me
Garth
tee
Brooks
that up.
example.
I am going to, because first of all, I want to say this. When you go to the baseball game, you go to the park. Basically, we're going to a park, and you're with your friends, and half the time you're spent in the concourse, and you're in line, and you're seeing neighbors you hadn't seen before. And oh, by the way, there's a game going on in the background. Most people don't go with to get a scorecard and with their number 2 lead pencil and are going pitch by pitch. There's very few of those. Most people are going for the experience. They're going to the park to smell the grass and smell the popcorn, not to even watch the game.
I'll give you some of that. I think that is part of the experience of going to the ballpark, and yes, people are going to go say, hey, let's go grab a beverage of your choice.
Yeah.
And you're going to find several places to go do that, and that is fun. It is part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Again, all we're saying is, let's lessen the standing around time.
And I'll give you a little bit of that, and because it is slow sometimes. But it's the only thing I would invest in buying a ticket, look forward to going to, and then I'm concerned about how long I'm going to be there. I'm thinking the longer the better. Like if I'm paying $67 for a ticket and you shorten the game by 30 minutes, I need a cheaper ticket.
Well, you're not.
I need a cheaper ticket.
Again,
because I was at the park for 3.5 hours, and I'm only there for 3 hours. I need a rebate. I
don't get that argument at all.
No, I mean, why? But it's the experience at the park. I'm going to go with the concert example just because I think it's fun to debate it. I mean, nobody goes to a concert and complains about how long the singer talks between songs. If you'd only stop talking so much between songs, we could get out of here quicker tonight. He's standing around. Why is he standing around?
That's part of
just sing the
that
songs.
That is part of the entertainment package.
Well, that's what I say. So
when they tell their stories,
right.
They are still engaging the audience.
Right. So Nomar Garciaparra is engaging the audience when he's flip, step.
Yeah,
it's his brand. It's his brand.
Yeah, they're doing things out of habit and out of superstition to try to make something that doesn't need to be there happen.
Yeah. So we've already seen some examples this season of games ending because of the clock. We've seen batters struck out because they haven't been in the box quick enough.
Yeah, and those are good points because I think that one of the things that this is new to baseball, and it's like anything new. When you introduce change, you're going to have periods of adjustment. Let's face it, technology should not take away the drama of the game.
Yes.
I saw somebody float out there because of those examples, Kevin, where they said, let's not enforce this in the 8th inning and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the right answer.
Maybe.
I don't know. But basically they're saying, look, when you ratchet up the drama, let's not have technology get in the way of drama. Let's not have a game end on a strikeout because a guy was like, "Hey, this is a super intense moment."
Right.
I get that, and hopefully baseball is going to look at that and say, "Okay, let's figure out where we can make this work, and where we can make some adjustments where it does not take away from the drama of the game."
I mean, you can't imagine Game 7 of the World Series ending on a strikeout because a guy stepped out in extra time in the batter's box.
Well, and
that'd be terrible.
Again, depending on the situation, it would be. And then what would people be talking about?
Right.
They'd be talking about that versus
the game.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile only being able to throw over to first base twice per batter? How do you reconcile that? I mean, once you take a one-way lead twice and get the 2 throws out of the way and steal a base on the enlarged bases?
Well, I did not verify this stat, but I heard somebody tell me that there were no pitch outs in Major League Baseball last year. Is that true?
Is it automatic now? Is it automatic just to put a guy on in baseball, Rusty? Is it automatic now? You don't do.
No. I'm not talking about a base on balls.
Okay.
I'm talking about a pitch out.
Oh, for stolen base. To a catcher.
That there were none that occurred in the MLB last
I don't
year.
know about that, but somebody's got the Google box and would check it. There's no pitch outs to catch a runner stealing second base. Tim Bob thinks that might be true.
I don't. 0 seems hard to believe.
Doesn't it?
It does.
That would seem hard to believe.
But
So-
I'm not. I don't like where you're starting to. That piece I don't actually like. It's if a guy's on base and you're trying to keep him closer to the bag and prevent him from stealing, that can also be a drain on the time of a game. But that might be one of those things where I'd be like,
Right. Yeah, we could make that. So that one might take some tweaking.
right. But to me, it's a separate issue. All we're trying to do is promote moving along.
I think the spirit of what you're saying is correct.
And they're gonna have to adjust it, Kevin. Because I think it's great that they had those examples in spring training. Because are you gonna want a regular season game to end on a strikeout because someone didn't get ready in time? I mean, I think the answer to that is no.
Probably not, right?
But-
I think it's mellow. Again, if I'm for ticket prices, it's just kind of a bah humbug. I mean, like a lead balloon. The game's over on a.
Yeah, it's
some weird
right.
technicality.
That would be the example of do not let technology take drama out of the game.
Right. So the spirit of speeding up the game, I'm okay. I have never thought to myself, I wish the game would go faster. And I'm a baseball guy. I get it. Hey, because if you really want to get done, if they were really worried about speeding up the game, make the commercial shorter between innings.
Well, all those things are factors, right? So there's, because there's more sponsors, there's more commercials, there's more time between innings, and they're all part of the process that pay these players for the game that they're in. So I get that part. But there's also things, again, the players manufactured this issue, and now they're being told, hey, guys, stop doing that. Let's have you pick up the pace of play.
Hey, so how about this? So my wife, she's a baseball woman. She used to work at Comiskey Park in Chicago. And she says, I disagree with Tim on the length of games and people needing to go home. She says, in May 8th, 1984, the Chicago White Sox 7, the Milwaukee Brewers 6 in 25 innings. The number 2 longest game in history. And she goes, I was there. Never once thought about wanting to go home.
Hey, listen, I'm with you. If I was at that game, I wouldn't have gone home either. And you asked me, what are some of the arguments for people saying, hey, let's pick up the pace of play here? Those are the arguments that you hear about people saying it's taken too long, and they want to get home. Now, I didn't say I want to get home, and I didn't say you want to get home, and that's a great example.
Yeah, right.
I guarantee you, if I had my son Sam at a game, he would not leave for anything in the hopes that either there was a great comeback or something special was going to happen. So we would stay till the bitter end, always.
I think I faintly remember that 1984 game, the Brewers White Sox, 25 innings. I know we've read about it. And do you remember it at all?
I do remember it because I was listening to Bob
Uecker
calling the game, and it was actually a game where Ben Ogilvy hit a 3-run homer in the top of one of those innings, like the 18th, and the White Sox came back and scored 3 runs in the bottom.
Oh, jeez.
And so it pushed the game out 7 more innings. I could be wrong on the exact number of innings, but it was like,
Right.
all right, the Brewers are going to win. But
I think I was tuned in, maybe not to all of it, but much of that game as well.
I totally remember that game and remember listening to it. And I appreciate the fan.
Yes, remember
Speaking out about it.
Yeah. My wife was there.
It was,
so how about that?
It was,
she was at that. She was the usher. Well, she was working right behind the White Sox dugout, is where she used to work. So she had that box.
That's awesome.
Right back there. So there you go. That kind of ties in, but it might be a good segue to move on from pitch clocks. We'll have to watch it this season. We'll see how it works out. We'll fine tune it and see if we can get you home a little earlier.
Get your average fan home a little earlier.
Yes.
So I think that's the part of it. And I mean, look at it. Shot clocks, pace of play. That's been important for every sport, just about. Mm-hmm. Hockey doesn't really have a pace of play problem.
It's fast, right? Yeah, they don't. No,
the
they
NFL
don't really.
does, though.
The NFL is getting worse.
Well, are we going to jump into that now?
No, we're digressing on that. But just a brief commercial for Tarnation Tavern. We want to thank Fred Barr and Colleen for having us down to Tarnation Tavern. Put your hands together. Let's, you bet. So here, we'll give you a little.
We still got.
There's our audience tonight here
there.
at Tarnation Tavern, and we still got this food. My mouth is still watering. I'm looking at this. Look at the spicy Charlie Cat chicken sandwich. It's right here. That
and the
Fred
roasted,
and staff.
the roasted Brussels sprouts.
The roasted Brussels sprouts also right here. Tim, we're going to get on these as soon as this, our first tavern talk is over. Which one do you want? Because we're going to try these. Well, maybe we'll cut them in half and just go with it from there. But it looks good. Come on down, Tarnation Tavern. See Fred Barr and Colleen down here and partake at Tarnation Tavern. We have one more subject line tonight and another fun one. This one I think was going to be short because we kind of agree on this one. I think the whole world is going to agree with us on this last one, Tim. Who can't agree that there should be a time limit for replays in all sports? We sit there every Saturday, every Sunday, every Wednesday night watching college basketball, and there's a replay, and the officials head over to the replay booth, and it's not seconds, it's not minutes, it's multiple minutes at the replay booth looking at 15 camera angles trying to decide.
Well, Kevin, I think part of the problem is some of the language that has been used to describe this whole instant replay thing, right? The words that were initially given were indisputable visual evidence.
Indisputable. How many times have we screamed at our TV? It's not indisputable. Leave it alone. Move on.
That's right. You know what indisputable means? It's not subject to interpretation. And so. And when is it not subject to Never. That's the purpose of it.
Correct.
You're going to interpret what you just saw.
We saw that. Maybe I'm assuming you were watching it 2.5 weeks ago. Minnesota and was it Michigan when Minnesota came back and they won on the last second shot? It was right before the Badger game because the Badger game was delayed because of the 5 or 6 minute review of the last second shot by the Minnesota player. That clearly went in, but what happened was they were going back to see if they started the game clock at the right moment when they came out of bounds with 2.7 seconds left. So they were doing a whole bunch of interpretation of instead of just calling the play. It was easy, and the play stood, and everything was good, but it took them 5 or 6 minutes, and it was right before the Badger game was on. That night, and it was like the Badger game didn't start till 5 minutes in because of that.
Well, the NFL has actually gotten better, and they may be the ones that we take. They have in general, because they and the funny thing that we're talking about pace of play in 2017. Roger Goodell, he went to the teams and he said, we got to pick up the pace of play. That was his edict to everyone, was to speed up games, and that also included his replay stuff
Yeah.
And so part of that replay stuff was to get stable, standard, and consistent technology in every stadium. What they found, the NFL's been pretty good about this, where they would do some of that adjusting as they were introducing change. And so they said, hey, we got to have the same technology in every stadium.
Oh, yeah.
We got to be able to be able to have the same capability.
They had to get
everywhere.
internet in every stadium. Oh, that's north of 8 that they have, that internet.
Well,
issues.
and we talked about this. So Cisco signed a deal with the NFL in 2020, and they also had the Hawkeye technology, which is,
for tennis.
well, that was made famous in tennis because, and again, that's awesome.
I'm
right?
still calling it Cyclops.
Well, Cyclops.
Yeah.
Hawkeye is the actual Hawkeye Smart technology, is what it's called, and it's used in every major sport between NFL, NBA, NHL, MLS, et cetera,
Right,
and
right.
tennis. And we all love tennis because that is the best, right? If you have an instant replay in
He said
tennis,
we all love tennis.
we all love the instant replay in tennis. That's what I meant.
Okay.
So, because how long does that take?
No time. Put it on the board and it's done.
And everyone gets to see it.
That's it. And everybody gets a
Right?
cheer.
And everyone goes, you hear it, they'll put it up there and they'll just go, whoa. And they have their answer in seconds.
Seconds. Why can't other sports adopt that?
And what is that? That is truly indisputable visual evidence.
Indisputable
It's
visual
not
evidence.
subject to interpretation.
Well, if we
show that
right.
every time when they're doing a tennis challenge.
If we only had 7 more camera angles, we could see a piece of the ball touch the ground and call it incomplete. Or
Well, again, I think that's where the NFL's actually been kind of the leader, was that they did increase their camera capacity or the angles. They did standardize their technology in every stadium. So the average time right now for an NFL replay is just over 2 minutes.
it's still high, isn't it?
I think so.
It's better than the average, but it's still too high.
So the question is how much time do you give them? Because I think I used to say 30 seconds. Like if you can't tell them 30 seconds,
Can I have 45? Could we
I mean,
as a community
I would give
agree
them
on 45?
I would actually give them a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's fair. What do you think, Rusty? 45 seconds or a minute in instant replay? What do you need? What do you need?
I'll give you a minute.
A minute.
At most.
Minute at most for instant replay. At any sport.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Can't overturn it in a minute.
Yeah.
Right. It stays.
That's the whole point of it, right? Is we're not trying to get into the minutia of.
I agree. I think we agree with. So again, this one is not quite as exciting because I think not only do we agree, but every single person who watches sports can agree. We should spend less time reviewing instant replays
Yeah.
and move the.
And because if you can't tell in that period of time, then let the
the
call on the
stay.
field stand.
Right,
Or
because
the field or the court or
Right,
whatever the
because
venue
it's
is.
not. Let's not say it together. Let's say it together because it's not indisputable. You're just making stuff up. Leave the play stand.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Well, and think of the other things that the NFL is now kind of doing is that they now have the replay official kind of has wide-ranging power at every game where they will call down to the referees and say, hey, that wasn't a catch or that was a catch or whatever. And they don't even allow the coaches to throw the challenge flag. So when you think about some of that progress, that's what other sports could really start to see what they can do to get ahead of it, because that's what the NFL has done.
What I would like is if you could just take 1,000 fans from random fans from across the country who have you could just dial it in and then you could say catch or no catch, inbounds or out of bounds.
Yeah.
Too much room for error on that.
Well, and too much room for fandom.
Fandom's
not going to be.
Yeah, well, you're right on that.
They're
You're right.
not going to
Okay,
be.
I didn't think that one through too far, so that would not work.
That would not work.
Because we're all yelling at the TV at home, like, no, that was out of bounds or inbounds, or we all see it.
You're not going to have an impartial group there. They're going to say, my guy caught that.
I can prove that right now.
Ask Rusty if, what was the Dallas Green Bay game, Rusty?
Des Bryant. I was going to say, I'm going to prove that. Did Des Bryant catch the ball?
Did Des Bryant catch that ball?
Our Dallas Cowboys fan says that was definitely a catch. And the Packers fans are still saying today that was not a catch. So that thing got away on you there, Tim Bob. So no football. See, they're arguing about it out here too. No football move. The ball bounced on the ground. It's not a catch.
Well, and again, that's the whole thing about when you talk about indisputable evidence, again, not subject to interpretation. And so that choice of words when they were using that for to kind of sell.
They stopped using that, didn't they?
Well, they probably did, because I haven't heard that much.
I have not heard that.
It's a ridiculous thing to say when your whole point of looking at it is to interpret what you saw.
And what could solve that is Tim Burns' rule number 1 that he wants to change in all of sports is a timer for replay. He says to 1 minute, and everybody in the world that watches sports would be happy.
Yeah, I think 1 minute would be sufficient to be able to make a call. Otherwise, you just say the call on the field stands.
Call stands, right?
Yeah, we don't want to spend 10 minutes deciphering if somebody caught a ball or not. And
no.
In some cases, because the NFL has said this, that there have been certain outliers where they've spent up to 10 minutes looking at it. And it's like, what? Why?
Right.
If you had to spend that much time,
Leave it.
You can't tell.
Leave it.
And then the call on the field should stand.
If the NFL was really concerned about getting the game 100% accurate, they would stop getting a 10-yard chain from Ace Hardware for the down markers, and they would sophisticate that. And that's for another episode as well, but right? I mean, you want to make the game accurate, and someone's buying a $9.11 10-yard chain from Ace Hardware to measure first downs in the NFL.
Well, I think the other argument that you hear frequently, too, is that, well, people will say, well, they're trying to get it right. And I get it. They are trying to get it right, but yet they will look at a replay, and if somebody's yanking on a lineman's face mask, they'll say, well, he did grab a face mask there, but that's not reviewable. So they're not trying to get it right. They're just saying,
okay, and they're
picking and choosing about
what they want to
review.
And we're going to end it with this one, because we had this in our pre-production meeting too. This is related to clocks and timers, but why is there still subjectivity into the play clock in the NFL? We hear it every single Sunday, Tim. Well, referees generally let that go. If the clock hits 0, they give them an extra second.
Yeah.
What is that about?
It's ridiculous. $1 billion industry like the NFL should have that thing so dialed in that anytime that clock hits 0, just like a shot clock, when that hits 0, if you didn't get your shot off, nobody's going, well, he gets an extra second when it hits 0. No. When it hits 0 and you didn't get it off, you're done. It's a turnover.
Yes. So here, Jeff Bjork chimes in. He's got a great point. He said, instant replays first regular season saw an average of 1.6 reviews per game. Of those plays in question, 374 in all, only 10% ended with reversal of the ruling on the field. That was in 1986. Right. Now, where are we at?
Yeah, well,
great point, Jeff.
It is a great point, but it's also one of those things that in 1986 they had different technology all over the place.
Yeah.
So today, again, they've upgraded everything. So I think, but Jeff, to your point, what they're saying is the call in the field has been pretty accurate. And again, that's why we're saying, well, don't spend so much time stressing over it. The call in the field. The person that was 10 feet away can probably make the right call.
He's called it like he's called it for 100 years.
And if it's obvious, we can turn that over in 30 seconds to a minute.
I agree. 100% agree with that. 100% agree.
All right, so where did we end tonight? We said shot clock for high school.
I think we agreed on shot clock for high school basketball. Probably has to kind of maybe head that way because they've been so effective in other levels of basketball.
Right.
No one's regretting it in college or pro.
No.
So I think
Does
we
anyone
agree.
want to see the Dean Smith four corners?
I don't think they do. And I think, but on that note, I think we agree. But I think there's also arguments to keep it the way it is, though you didn't convince us.
Yeah,
Right?
Yes, you would have to convince us.
You
of
didn't
that.
convince us because we're not going to go to the mat for you on that one.
And then we said that you want to stay at a game for 3.5 hours, baseball game. I'm just saying, if the game lasts 3.5 hours, can you just pick up the pace between pitches?
Right. So on that, I'm kind of in agreement. I'm not. You don't have me in the boat yet, but I'm kind of in agreement that in baseball, we should be trying to figure out a way how to move the game on a little bit. Though I go to the park and I'm not in any hurry to get home. That's for me. I'm not in
Fair enough.
I'm not in any
That's
hurry to get home.
Fair enough. I can appreciate that as a
Person who
baseball
likes to
fan.
spend time in the ballpark in the afternoon.
Yeah,
right?
we like that, especially a Thursday afternoon game.
Right. I mean, there's no hurry. Though there's no hurry, but quit standing around.
I think what we're saying is that the more you promote a faster pace, I think that will just increase fan interest
Let's
in
fine
general.
tune it. Let's fine tune it as we get on. And then our last topic, we talked about instant replay. And Cedric, he tunes in. He said if it's not immediately obvious, move on.
Exactly. That's what we're
So-
saying. Yeah, so I don't know, Cedric, if that means
Right. Well,
30 seconds or we said a minute to give them the
a
benefit
minute.
of the
And
doubt,
if it's not,
which would cut it in half, by the way, from what it is today.
Right.
It's
It's
just
too
over
long.
2 minutes.
don't be searching for an answer. If the answer isn't obvious and blatant, move on. Keep the call on the field and let's play ball.
Yeah, but again, what the NFL has done is they've got a replay official now that can call those things without anybody raising a challenge. So they're making progress to try to move those things along without even have the debate, right? We've
Right.
seen that where they say, hey, that was a catch. Don't even,
Right.
let's not argue about it. Nobody has to look at it. We've seen it up here. We know it's a catch.
So who's lobbying to continue the incessant 18 angles of replay? Is that Vegas doing that? Who's lobbying to take more looks?
Well, I think that's where you get that whole piece of, again, indisputable. And what did we say indisputable was? Not subject to interpretation.
in less than 1 minute.
Yeah,
If you're looking more than a minute, it's not indisputable.
exactly. So
I
let
think
the
it's
call
the
on the field-
definitions.
So let the,
call on the field
stand.
together stand.
Yeah.
That's it. We solved that one.
I hope so.
I think if you're listening, this does go out to all of planet Earth, and hopefully this fell on some of the right ears.
or 7 people out there.
Yeah,
on
7
planet
people
Earth.
right on planet Earth, whatever. Make the change to tomorrow. Let's get in the NFL off-season meetings, get it done.
Well, hey, Kevin, we kicked it off, and what did that take us?
I don't know how long we've been talking. 50 minutes.
Wow.
This is like any night though in Tarnation Tavern or the Urban Barn on Maple where we're solving the problems
Where
of
we
the world.
have discussions about these
exact things. We knew this wouldn't be hard for us
No.
because this is what we do.
Yeah.
If the microphones weren't on, we'd be over there having the same conversation.
Yeah, and we might even be more opinionated. I don't know.
We might be. I don't know either. I don't know either. But I'm thinking about what could this show be? I have no idea. We said, how is this going to be? What's it going to be? I have no idea. We're just going to rap. You might like it. You might not. This might be the dumbest thing we've ever done. We might just get back to the bar stool and call it good. Or we can maybe find something interesting. I wrote down some topics that might be interesting, even like that vary away from sports. I always had this question of who is they? When someone says they should build a Taco Bell, they should build more multi-unit apartments, they should fix that traffic. Who's they? I want to find out. We're going to do a topic some night.
We're going to have a lot of research on that.
Who is they? Who is they? Yeah, who is they? He can't answer it, he said. Electronic strike zones and chips in football. That might be like a technology night. Like, what can we do with technology to make sport better? That'll be a night.
Well, and again, we already made that point tonight about technology should not take away from the drama of the game, but we need to have a
technology
enhancement discussion, because I would agree that
where does
the
it end?
strike zone, again, if you just look at how things are in tennis, they have the technology to be able to do that.
Yes.
And the strike zone would be so much
easy.
more consistent.
I think it's coming. It's got to come.
I think it is too. There's a part of you that says, that's kind of a bummer. But, I think the days of seeing, well, so-and-so's strike zone is like this, and the other person's strike zone is not the same, and those inconsistencies have got to go away.
I agree with that. And one other topic, I have a whole bunch of topics written down, but another fun one would be, what makes River Falls different than other small towns? There's something about this place, having lived here 10 years, it's pretty cool. And there's something going on, I don't know what it is. What's in the sauce? What did we put in the water that people seem to be on a similar foundation of understanding? And
we'll cue that up for another day.
We will cue that up for another day. So, I don't know what else. What do you want to put a big red bow around this thing, Tim?
I think we can. We already talked for
almost an hour. It seemed like 10 minutes. I think we can still eat this Charlie Cat chicken sandwich and these Brussels sprouts. They still got a little heat on them yet. We're going to be good to go on that. So I'll tell you what, on behalf of Fred Barr down here at Tarnation Tavern, my great co-host Timmy Burns, I'm Kevin Westhouse. Thanks for joining us on episode 1 of Tavern Talk, where we're solving problems with polite conversations. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.